Alright, so now we're going to go over the properties. So the distributive property's full name is the distributive property of multiplication over addition. Meaning if you have a number or something that you're multiplying by a sum, or in other words, two or more things being added or subtracted from each other, you can take the multiplication and apply it to each piece. In other words, you can distribute. Getting something that was 2 times the quantity of x plus 4 becomes 2x plus 8, which is kind of a cool thing. And this we just generally simplify down to, when I'm writing it down anyway, distributive property. Why? Because I don't want to write the whole thing. Another property is the addition property of equality. In other words, if we add the same thing to both sides, the equation remains equal. Okay? And I can tell that because if I came back up here and plugged in the 10, I can see that 10 minus 4 is 6. So when I write down this property, I write add, and then I really don't like writing this all the way out, property of equality, so I do P-O-E. So like on 11, this is the subtraction property of equality. Same idea, but now with subtraction. If we subtract the same thing from both sides, then both sides remain equal. In other words, if we take off the same amount off of a balanced scale on both sides, the scale would remain balanced. And this one I use sub POE. Okay, multiplication property of equality. Same idea, but this time it's multiplying on both sides. So here I would multiply both sides by 2 and get something like x equals 12, and I would use multiplication property of equality when explaining it. And yes, there's a reason we're doing this, because we're going to start doing some algebraic proofs, which we're really just going to be writing what we're doing next to what we're doing. Not too difficult. Alright, so looking at the division property of equality, same idea that we've been doing, except this time you divide. So we would divide both sides by 3 and get x equals 2 here. And then I would use, oh, not quite where I want it, div POE. There we go. Okay, so let's do one, so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So here in this problem, I see that I have a -2 that I need to distribute in order to start solving. So I need to get it as simplified as possible. This is part of getting it as simplified as possible. So right here, after I distribute, I would have 9 equals 7. None of that changed. The -2 times x is -2x, and -2 times -3 is a positive 6. And the property that says that we can do that, so this is step 1. This is also step 1. The property that says we can do that is the distribution property. That's why we are allowed to do that. Alright, so then our step 2, I'm going to just simplify or combine like terms. So 9 stays the same because there's nothing for it to simplify with. But we have a 7 and a 6 we can combine into the number 13. So you have 13 minus 2x. Alright, so now you'll also notice that we have 9 equals 13 minus 2x. So my second step was just to simplify or to combine like terms. Okay? Alright, then my third step, I'm just going to subtract 13 from both sides. So, oh, I'll redo that. So I'm going to subtract 13 from both sides. So my third step, we use the idea that because I can subtract, and it remains the same, we use the subtraction property of equality. And when I subtract, I get -4 equals -2x. So from here, I've got a -2 times x. I want to undo that, so I'm going to divide by -2. And the property that says I can do that is my division property of equality. So then when we divide both sides by 2, -4 divided by -2 is a positive 2. -2 divided by -2 is an x. Negative 2 divided by negative 2 is 1, so then there's only one x, and 2 equals x. All right, let's do one more before I have you guys do a couple on your own. All right, so right here, it's the same idea. I'm going to need to distribute to start simplifying down as far as possible first. So here I would have negative 6 minus plus, because negative 2 times negative 1d is going to be a positive 2d plus 2 equals 4. So my first step was the distribution property. All right, my second step is going to be again to simplify. So I've got a negative 6 and a positive 2. So if I combine like terms, I get negative 4 plus 2d equals 4. So step 2, I'm just going to call it simplify this time. If you want to write combine like terms, that's fine. We're just simplifying. Okay, and then step 3, I'm going to add 4 to both sides because we've got a negative 4, which is really just 2d minus 4 if I rewrote it. So if I add 4 to both sides, I'm using my addition property of equality, so my addition PO, and I get 2d equals 8. So then my last step here, so my fourth and final step, is going to be to divide both sides by 2 to get d all by itself. And 8 divided by 2 is 4. So I used my division property of equality. All right, so now I want you to go ahead and try that a couple times. So try that one here. You've got this. It's fractions. That's okay. There's a simple way to get rid of the fractions. Just multiply both sides by 5. And then here, I want you to go ahead and try this one. This one has some distribution going on. And then we'll come back together on this problem.